Now, the Equalities Watchdog has launched a formal investigation into claims of anti-Semitism in the Labour Party. The Equalities and Human Rights Commission will assess whether Labour has victimised people because they're Jewish. The party said it would cooperate fully, but it rejected claims that it does not handle complaints robustly. Here's the Labour Party's Dawn Butler.
Well, the Labour Party will fully cooperate with the EHRC. That's terribly important. What we strive to do as a party is ensure that we have the most robust and fair system that we can possibly have. And I think this investigation will allow for us to be able to say with some confidence that we have that.
Well, that was the Labour Party response from Dawn Butler there. And we can talk now to Gideon Falter, who's from the Campaign Against Anti-Semitism, who registered a complaint with the Equalities and Human Rights Commission and is with me now. Thank you very much indeed for being with us. So what is your reaction then to the news that the Commission is going to investigate the Labour Party?
It's appalling that this is needed to happen. The only other party ever to be investigated by the Equality and Human Rights Commission is the British National Party. And the Commission itself was actually set up by the Labour Party in 2006. And the reason we've got to this stage is because for years the Jewish community has been begging Jeremy Corbyn and the Labour leadership to take action over anti-Semitism. In March this year, the Commission wrote to the Labour Party and said, "We're considering launching a statutory investigation. Will you please offer us some measures that you will take to reassure us that you're going to take this seriously?" And now today the Commission has said, we're not satisfied, we're opening a statutory investigation. And that is the state of affairs. We're very pleased that the Commission has decided to try to deliver justice, but it is devastating that one of the mainstream national parties in this country has fallen so far into the gutter.
Well, you'll hear what Dawn Butler just was saying there on behalf of the party, and the official statement from the party says, "We reject any suggestion that the party does not handle anti-Semitism complaints fairly and robustly, or that the party has acted unlawfully, and we will continue to cooperate fully with the Equality and Human Rights Commission."
Well, I mean, you just have to look at what the public thinks, not just the Jewish community. The latest YouGov poll shows that when asked whether the Labour Party or Jeremy Corbyn were anti-Semitic, only 19% of the electorate believes that neither is anti-Semitic. And when you talk about robust action, the Labour Party today threw out Alistair Campbell, obviously a very prominent member, for having voted Liberal Democrat. They did it on the day, pretty much, that they got the news. Now, we've talked about activists like Jackie Walker, who were expelled from the Labour Party after 3 years, after making some pretty appalling comments about Jews being the chief financiers of the slave trade, according to her. And we see that when the Labour Party wants to do something, it can. And now we've seen, just today, Labour MPs, but also Deputy Leader Tom Watson, Shadow Foreign Secretary Emily Thornberry, actually saying, we need someone independent to come in and investigate this issue. Please will the Commission come and take hold of this and investigate independently and impartially. And that's what's now going to happen. And because the Labour Party, when it created the Commission, gave it such powers, this is actually a very serious thing for the party, because Labour is now going to have to potentially have its leaders interviewed by the Commission. WhatsApp messages, emails, internal documents can be produced for the Commission. And the Commission can actually impose an action plan on the party, which it can enforce through the courts. So this is a very severe situation the Labour Party has landed itself in, and it's through its own fault.
And actually the investigation, according to the wording of it, is into whether the Labour Party unlawfully discriminated against, harassed or victimised people because they are Jewish.
Exactly. I mean, if you imagine that it wasn't so long ago that if you had a problem with racism in this country, the party that you would probably go to, and certainly the party which most Jews felt very comfortable with going to, was the Labour Party. And in just 4 short years, under Jeremy Corbyn's leadership, it has become so institutionally anti-Semitic.
Although, I mean, Jeremy Corbyn has said again and again and again, it's not an anti-Semitic party, and he is not anti-Semitic.
We think that the evidence shows us otherwise. We think that Jeremy Corbyn himself is anti-Semitic. We don't think that there's any other explanation for his years, decades in fact, of being on the wrong side of this issue. And if they wanted to prove that they were not an anti-Semitic party, there is so much that they could have done. And instead they have resisted, they have claimed that these are just political smears, that there isn't really a problem, it's a few bad apples. And now the truth will out because the Independent Equality and Human Rights Commission has this and is seized of the matter.
Well, as I say, he would strongly deny that were he here. But anyway, that commission will do its work. Thank you very much indeed. That's Gideon Falter there from the Campaign Against Anti-Semitism. Thank you for your time.